This Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis and Lindsay Lohan are back to switch things up in Disney's Freakier Friday.
Totally. Yes.
It's an absolute riot, and the only movie that can be described as
So much weirder than the last time. What last time?
it's the frequel
You ready?
we've been waiting for.
That absolutely slays.
What deeply out of touch old person came up with that?
You did.
Wow.
Don't miss the comedy event of the summer for all ages. Disney's Freakier Friday in theaters this Friday. Get tickets now. Rated PG. Parental guidance suggested.
It's Wednesday Addams. I see you're trying to distract yourself from your own banal thoughts. Let me help. Here's a recording thing made of my latest root canal.
Wednesday, Season 2, begins August 6th, only on Netflix.
It's back to school season, and Clorox is donating 2 million disinfecting wipes to classrooms across America. Because back to school means things can get a little bit messy. Just ask kindergarten teacher Miss Gibson.
Give me just one Clorox wipe and I'm ready for glitter glue, exploded lunchbox yogurt, peanut butter handprints, runny noses, picking noses, rubbing noses.
Touching noses.
Thank you, Edward. Ooh, nap mats and lockers and tissue boxes. And
Clorox
scissors.
disinfecting wipes. Teacher's #1 wipe. Clean feels good. Based on unit sales data.
Pie in the Sky Media. This series contains adult language and descriptions of graphic violence throughout. Listener discretion is advised.
Three, two, one. Happy spring break, Murder Chronicles Nation. I hope that you're not going too crazy with your kids at home and get them into a camp, or just loosen up on your screen restrictions and let them veg out for a few hours and listen to our show.
We're not, speak for yourself, we're not on spring break.
You're not?
It's actually snowing here in Seattle right now.
Whoa.
It's
Well,
snowing yesterday.
It's very nice in Los Angeles. It has been a long, cold, and very rainy winter here. I think we're coming out of it. It's very windy today and a little cold, but sunny. At least there's no rain. And my kids are on spring break, day one, and they're driving me fucking bananas. But that's how it goes, I guess.
That's how it rolls.
Yes. How was your week? You doing all right?
Doing good. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, a lot of plates in the air, a lot of irons in the fire, as it were. So I appreciate and look forward to this kind of hour of an oasis that I get each week to talk to.
Oasis. I love that.
And to hang out and
but you know what?
talk about murder.
I'll take the compliment.
Yes.
The oasis. I'm going to take that as a win.
Good.
And but I know I love having a million plates in the air, and I know you do too. So
yeah, it's just I gotta find my zen. I not that I'm generally a large proponent of Eastern philosophy, but I read this thing once that Buddhist monks appreciate uncertainty to the point where it's like a state of ecstasy for them, because that means that anything at all is possible, including the best possible things that there are.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult for me to lean into that and to adopt that perception. But I'm trying because there's a lot of uncertainty in my life right now. And I'm just trying to.
Well, why is it difficult for you to do that? I mean, it's just a nice thing to think about, isn't it? I mean,
I find it difficult from a perspective of a husband and a father, right? And about and being a provider and all that, when things are in flux like this, there hasn't been a day since my kids were born that I haven't worried about providing for them. Like, not 1 second that has gone by, even when I'm flush, especially when I'm broke, but I'm always, I don't know. I'm difficult. It's hard for me to relax into the good times, because I know it's
no,
around the corner.
I don't know. I don't want to just say it's a male thing, because I feel that same way, but I can see my husband feels that pressure too. And I feel different pressures, but I do feel that also. But I get it. I mean, it's tough.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah.
So it is. It feels like a. It sounds like it feels like kind of fluffy cotton candy to be thinking about Zen when you're like, hey, I gotta provide.
Yeah, listen, and it's been worse before, to be sure. It's been worse before, and it's been better before, but it's just, gotta stay sharp, gotta stay focused. And Springsteen said it. Hard times come and hard times go, just to come again. So, all right, here we go.
Here we go. So what do you think about this? I'm so curious to hear what you think happened.
First of all,
in this case,
I'm disgusted that there is still a profession of trapping. That disgusts me. A line of traps. He keeps a small caliber gun to preserve the pelt. I mean, look, I get it. People grew up differently. People grew up hunting. People grew up whatever. It's just, I mean, fuck that, right? We're in a civilized society where you don't have to trap animals and have them suffer until they get a fucking bullet in the head, right? I personally, I think it's a bridge too far to say, well, that's how they were raised. They're frontiersmen. No, you're a frontiersman 150 fucking years ago on the Oregon Trail. Okay. Not now living in fucking Seattle, where you could go to Ralph's. But anyway,
I vacillated between adding that detail, but it was important to know because of the gun. Like,
it's important to the story.
Have that gun with him. It's important to the story, but it was like, the pile of these pelts.
Yeah.
And
I know,
especially if he's not using them for food and he's just taking the pelts. That's the part that I feel like
all of it.
Yeah.
I know. All of it. I read this great book.
I'm like I can't say that I feel exactly the same way, because I watch a lot of I love Naked and Afraid, and I love those types of not nature shows, but reality shows where people are put into really extreme situations. Yeah. And when they are able to hunt in the most rudimentary fashion, with a bow and stuff, and it's not like some AK-47, basically taking down Bambi. I feel and they're so grateful. You've never seen more grateful people who are thank you so much for your sacrifice to the animal. And they are eating every single last bit, making shoes out of the,
right. I get it, Carolyn. I get it. But also, but there is a very obvious distinction to be made that is, for all intents and purposes, faked for entertainment. I'm not saying that what they're doing is fake. What I'm saying is, at any time they can say, I'm out, take me back to civilization, and they're eating ice cream and craft service in 10 minutes. So
and that's what makes it so amazing when they don't do that. That is what I love. Actually,
because there's a payday at the end.
That's the line that I absolutely say all the time, because one of these characters was he was getting these eels, and every time he knew he knew he had the skill to get these eels, and he did. And he's like, this is what I live for. And it's
right. There's also a payday at the end for them, right? Because it's on TV. They're not doing it for nothing, No,
but they have to have earned the skill set to be able to do that.
Yes, absolutely. I read a great book by James Michener called Centennial, which was about basically it's like the Oregon Trail and the settling of the West and the frontier. And it's told over decades and over several different points of view and several different generations of the same bloodlines. And there was this French Canadian trapper, Pasquinel. I never even knew how to pronounce his name. And you learn all about all the dirty details, how difficult it was, how necessary it was to survive, how, the marauding bands of Native Americans that were coming in because we were, raping their land and over hunting and over trapping, and which we fucking do because we think we deserve it. But so just reading that book and there was no point of view. If you read Michener, he doesn't, there's no judgment in his writing. It's just, this is how it was. you know, and you're left to kind of form your own opinions. And my opinion was that I was disgusted by it. And that it still existed or still exists now. There's still people who do that. You know, it's like bear baiting, right? For these
that's
right?
that's
Like what the fuck? Yeah, it's just so fucking ridiculous. But anyway, so that my personal opinion on trapping, notwithstanding, I don't know what happened, but I know that I was riveted by them trying to find out what happened from a 2.5-year-old. Right. And these utterances that people that writing down, and then the clinical psychologist trying to put pieces together and stuff. That was very, very well structured and well researched and well written by you. So that was super cool. But so Mommy in the Trees is terrifying, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That was really strange. But the first thing that jumped out to me was it reminded me of a guy that I know. The guy who found the body, who was there to let his dog kind of run around, right? And the dog like goes out running about it, and the dog finds something. He goes, "Is that a deer carcass? Is that a truck? Something's fucking weird. I'm getting out of here." And he retraced his steps, okay, right, and got in and took off. I used to work with a guy, and we were going on a camping vacation to Joshua Tree, which is a very, very popular national park, and you can camp there, and it's gorgeous. And he's this fucking guy. He goes, "Oh, I go to Joshua Tree." He goes, "Don't use garbage cans out there. Don't leave anything behind. Take all your trash with you." And I went, "What the fuck are you talking about?" He goes, "Dude, you don't know how many times a body shows up in the desert, the cops have no leads, and they just go through the nearest trash can and pull a fingerprint off a soda can. Next thing you know, boom, you're in jail for murder." Well, what the fuck are you talking about, dude?
Wow. That's like brings a new level to, hey, how you doing?
Being really super uber fucking careful. But now every time I go somewhere, that's on my mind. I'm like, okay, great. You know, it's that Sherlock Holmes thing. Every time you go somewhere, you leave something behind and you take something with you, even if you don't know it, right? And I'm like, did I leave prints?
Because somebody's probably watching you do this, and they're like, "Hey, it's so great. Brandon's environmental." It's like, no, he just doesn't want to leave his DNA behind.
They're not. I'm not getting railroaded on some trumped up fucking murder charge. Fuck off. Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy to think about it. But that's what I was thinking about this guy. And so I like this detective that you were speaking to. He has a conclusion like in his mind. He thinks he knows what happened. Which is fine. Yeah. So and what I liked about it also is that you kind of buried the lead about Reamer being a domestic abuser. Right? Like I didn't really get that until about halfway through the episode, you know, where they were in this really violent relationship, you know, back and forth, and there were threats made and all that. But so finding the kid roaming around in a Kmart. Sorry, it was Kmart, right? Kmart, that was the Walmart of the 80s. Yeah, the Walmart of the 80s. So how do you think she got there?
Yeah.
I know you came to a conclusion at the end. Not a conclusion, but you offered some theories. How do you think she got to the Walmart? Kmart.
The thing is that every time I think of it, then there's something that makes me think, well, wait a second. Wait. So I don't know, but I feel like I'm leaning toward, I also think that there's this bias that we have that we want to make something grandiose when it really is the saddest thing, which is the dad probably, murdered his partner in front of his daughter and dropped her off. But then how would he get the truck back to that place? You know what I mean? If he were to take her to Kmart, and even the detective Beale was like, that truck didn't go anywhere.
Right.
After whatever happened. And then you're thinking, well, what if he did kill her somewhere else? But then why would he stage the whole thing? Why would he and then go a quarter of a mile away? And then so I don't know. That's what's so maddening about it, where it's
Right.
like, you know, the statistically, if we're statistically speaking, he would have done it. He would have killed her, you know?
Yeah.
But there's just too many like weird, and then the other double homicide, and then
Right.
the circumstantial
That's where
evidence. You're
my
like, Brandon's putting his hand up.
that's where
Whoa.
my mind goes. That's where my mind goes. Because I know detectives, police don't like coincidences. But we'll get to that in a second. So, well, we can get to it now, I guess. So, what Carolyn's talking about here is the possibility of a serial killer that was on the loose. Hold on, I have to close the door. Frankie, turn that down. What Carolyn's talking about is the possibility that a serial killer was on the loose and was responsible for not only this double homicide, but for a double homicide from 4 months earlier, from in the summer. And the evidence pointing to that, I think, is pretty strong, especially the fucking tube sock, right? I rocked tube socks in the 80s. I mean, I had some that went above the knee when I was 12.
Oh my gosh, you're a real high achiever. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Hell yes.
You know I did too. You know I did too, like my roller skating. Yeah. I mean, I saw that. I'm like, of course, it's a serial killer who loves tube socks. I mean, that would make sense. But
well, because I mean, to your point, we all wore tube socks in the 80s. Everybody was wearing tube socks in the 80s. So if I'm a serial killer, I'm like, okay, I don't have to bring a weapon with me because I know how to use a sock. I'll just use the sock that they have. And 2 different medical examiners came to the same conclusion about the use of the sock, that it wasn't what killed them. It was just a tool to either keep them from moving or to drag the body, but that wasn't the right.
yeah.
So that's an MO. That's a modus operandi for a killer that you can start to make a profile based off of that, right? Like, here we go. And also, fuck, this guy shot someone's dog. I mean, you gotta kill the dog. You don't have to kill the dog.
More Murder Chronicles after the break.
Subtle results, still you, but with fewer lines. Botox Cosmetic, onabotulinum toxin A, is a prescription medicine used to temporarily make moderate to severe frown lines, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better in adults.
Effects of Botox Cosmetic may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions before injection are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox Cosmetic if you have a skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow and eyelid drooping, and eyelid swelling. Allergic reactions can include rash, welts, asthma symptoms, and dizziness. Tell your doctor about medical history, muscle or nerve conditions including ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, myasthenia gravis, or Lambert-Eaton syndrome, and medications, including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects. For full safety information, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
See for yourself at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Leading a business today means constantly adapting. On the Executive Insights podcast, brought to you by AWS, global leaders share how they're making tough calls, testing bold ideas, and putting innovation into practice, generative AI included. If you're looking for real stories behind what's working, this is it. Subscribe to the Executive Insights podcast today, available now on all major podcast platforms.
You know, you're right. He didn't have to. It's an interesting. I had a interesting interview with an FBI agent once who kind of explained this to me, and it made sense. There's 2 things. There's the MO, modus operandi, and then there's ritual. And the modus operandi is something that's kind of flexible, where you don't have to do it during whatever crime you're committing.
What do you mean?
But ritual is something you have to do. It's like they feel like they have to do it. It's a part of them getting off, right? So it's like they have to administer pain in such a way that could be considered a ritual, you know? But an MO is flexible, like how they actually kill someone. It could start off with a tube sock. It could start, as a strangulation device, or it could be like the Night Stalker. He brought all of those.
That's what I was about to bring up.
Right. Yeah. That makes it easy to kind of understand when you think about his MO, which changed constantly, but there were some ritual things that he needed to do, which was, basically making his victims feel like crap. And what he did was so terrible. It's beyond making him feel like crap, but he had to do those things in order to get off.
So a ritual needs to be present more than an MO for police like purposes. Like if the ritual is consistent, but the MO is different, they can still kind of draw a conclusion that it's the same person.
Well, that's why they kind of, Gil in the Night Stalker, he saw it very clearly. Like, yeah, this person could have a 5-year-old victim and a 90-year-old victim.
Right. Because
normally they would say, no, the serial killers stay in their lane and they have a type. And he's like, no. So it's like, there's the MO, which can change depending on how everything rolls down during this murder. Right. But the ritual is something they have to do it.
Yeah.
They have to do it.
It's like a fingerprint almost, the ritual, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's interesting. Huh. It's fucking super cool. So serial killer, perhaps. Tube sock, really, really interesting. And then let's get to them talking to the girl. Okay. And I just got to hang a lantern on another bravura acting performance where you, as a 2.5-year-old girl, that was great. You put me in the moment.
I'm joking. I can never. Glad that my choking is causing you to
breathe. Okay.
What's your Buddhist thing?
I don't remember.
Right.
Breathe. Okay.
Yeah.
Bravo. That was great.
Thank you.
And I don't even like thinking about what this girl actually witnessed, but it was really interesting seeing the how they did it, seeing the procedure, right? Like a toy truck, and here are 3 dolls, and here are 2 stranger dolls, and here's this, and here's that. And making it really accessible and comfortable for the little girl. And to hear the detective say kind of with some disdain how things have changed. Well, back then we'd have 5 meetings with her. Today, you're lucky to get 1. Like all that, like how police work has kind of evolved, in his opinion, for the worse, devolved, I guess you should say, with regard to accessibility to young witnesses. Because this girl, she'd be what, 40 now, maybe 35?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And I think that he was very mindful of her, but I do think that at the end of the day, I think that basically what they're saying is the first interview is the best one.
The cleanest, right?
And we can see that in the case that we just covered with Brooke in the, where she said her voicemail message, which was, somebody killed my grandma. That was the very first one.
First thing, that's the cleanest. Right. Yeah. Without any influence, free of any influence from outside sources. Exactly. Yeah. That's a good point.
And I think that because she went missing for a couple of days, they missed that time, that window where it was like, if they would have known the right questions to ask, but they didn't know that the parents were missing. They just saw this Jane Doe. She was considered a Jane Doe, and so they lost that time because the grandma didn't find out for 2 days later, and then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. So the recounting of the events from Crystal was harrowing and was tough to hear. And I can imagine even harder for the detectives, because it's got to be emotionally difficult to hear a 2.5-year-old girl having to tell the story, but then also from a police work kind of point of view, from a clinical point of view, to try and put the pieces together and see what's true and what's not, and try and decipher the mind of a 2.5-year-old that's obviously traumatized. That had to be incredibly difficult. And obviously they couldn't reach any definitive conclusions from it.
I know. I mean, how frustrating. I believe that she was there. There's no doubt in my mind that Crystal witnessed, because that was
because she kept taking the clothes off, correct? She knew that. Yeah.
And just like the blood is on the windowsill. And then they said that when they were going through the truck, there was blood. How would she know that?
Yeah.
If she wasn't there? Now,
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, but then it's like, how did she get there? How did she get to the Kmart? You know what I mean?
I have a theory.
I can't. That's what I've been waiting to hear. What is it? What do you think?
I'll tell you in a second, because I haven't gotten to my favorite part yet.
Okay.
My favorite part of this.
Wait, let me just get to your point. The 40 pages was really, really, really difficult to hear. And I just kept imagining one of my kids being in that position, and it's heartbreaking. Whatever happened to her was so traumatic. And then having to relive it in these interviews, and when she was like hiding in the back of the car, I mean, it's just like, it's heartbreaking. So yes.
I just hope that she was young enough that she's forgotten about it by now.
I think she had.
Good. It doesn't really cement in her brain, because my daughter was really, really sick when she was 2 years old, and had to go through a bunch of awful tests where I was like, had to hold her down for like blood work and stuff. And she doesn't remember any of it. And it was so incredibly traumatic for me. Like, I remember every fucking second of it. Right.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I don't remember being here, Daddy. Like all that. I'm like, so happy. So hopefully she was young enough where it didn't anchor really into her brain. But so my favorite part, what do you think my favorite part was?
That's why I want to know, because I don't know what your favorite part is.
My favorite part was how they determined how long ago Reamer had died.
Wait, I knew it. That was, of course, with the tree root.
The tree branch growing through his jaw that they were able to cut and count the fucking rings. I was like, yeah, it's great.
I mean, isn't that such a Pacific Northwest thing?
The trees speak, right?
And they did.
They totally did.
I will say, I am a tree hugger completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I named my son after one of the redwoods, the Grove of Titans. His name's Titan.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's like,
it's a great tree.
They're my favorite trees. Like,
and then my daughter after Sinatra, her name's Frankie. So yeah.
Same kind of like special
New Jersey thing. Yeah, he's another Titan. Yeah.
Oh. Anyway, I just love that. I mean, how amazing, because they wouldn't have figured it out any other way.
Figured it out. Yeah, because after decomp is done, right? I mean, within like a year or two, I mean, it could be 2 years, it could be 20 years, but they got this tree branch growing through his face, right? And they're able to count the fucking rings. That was really, really cool. Like that, I was really happy about that. And also, to bring New Hampshire back into it, my grandparents lived on this big piece of land in southern New Hampshire with just like entire realms of these hardwood forests that every few years they would have different acreages logged, right? So I know what they were talking about when they're like, all right, this has changed so much in 25 years. It went from tree stumps to these big majestic trees. Like I've seen that happen. So and the topography and the landscape changes dramatically. So going back 26 years prior to when the event happened would be different than going there when they found his remains, So, and they were also about, in the mountains and in the wilderness, how the crow flies being different from actual travel time to a place. That's a huge, huge difference. But so where I land with this is kind of like Because I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, like, most of the time, right? I watch the news and stuff pisses me off, and and I remember things, and so bringing it a little bit more current.
That's how you describe yourself. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, well, I'm just being honest. To make it current, okay, with the Gabby Petito Brian Laundrie, that piece of shit, right, who killed his girlfriend, okay, and then what did he do? He drives somewhere and tries to get his mom to make him feel better, and his mom covers up for him with the lead, blah, blah, whatever. And then he goes and kills himself in the fucking swamp. Okay. Like a coward. So that's kind of where I'm landing. Although I really want it to be the serial killer thing. It's what serial killer is going to leave a witness, even in a 2.5-year-old little girl? Like, unless the serial killer was finally, after 4 bodies, was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Here you go, little girl. See you later. And disappeared and got away with it. Perfect crime. We'll never know. I think a likelier scenario is that it's the dad. And that the dad drove the truck there, killed the mom, had a massive attack of guilt because he saw how it affected the little girl. Seeing his flesh and blood cowering in the back and the mom's blood fucking everywhere. And he goes and drops her off at Walmart. Okay. And then drove back in a way where he could still see the scene of the crime. Because remember, back then there were no trees. Even though he's a quarter mile away, he could probably still see where it had happened. Kind of like Tommy Sullivan in The Jersey Devil, right? Where he found a vantage point in the woods across the street where he could see the house burning down. That's where he killed himself. And then, to the detective's point, all we know is that he didn't shoot himself because the skull was intact. But then, remember, he said very tellingly, he said, could have cut his wrists. We'll never know. And did some way, took his life some way in the woods and killed himself.
I think if you look at statistics, right? Okay. I hear you. I hear you completely. But statistically, he would have shot himself in the head. That's what men do when they take their own lives. Not all of them, of course.
But they never found the gun. So the gun wasn't any
prime method, I think.
But the gun wasn't near the body.
Right. And I know exactly. And then so he has a Christmas tree. Is he really going to slash his wrist with a Christmas tree? Those are kind of weird looking things. Like, it wouldn't be easy. It would literally tear into, like, I just don't buy that.
Well,
where's the gun?
Have
Because
you ever
if he would have done that, it would have just been like.
Have you ever cut down a Christmas tree in the wild? With a saw specifically?
Yes, I have.
All right, it's with a saw specifically.
Yeah, they have. Don't get out of here.
No. With a saw that's made to cut.
Yeah, they have Christmas tree farms where
rips
you go.
right through it. It rips right through it. So if he is skilled with that saw, he can just go one slice and his wrist is open to the bone with one slice with that saw. So I'm saying he could do it and he's obviously knew what he was doing. This guy just liked killing things, trapping animals, killing fucking trees. This guy's the worst. But and then so that if I don't see a third option, right? You could make a case for the serial killer option, and then he just got away with it and stopped doing it. Okay. Which sucks. Or you could make a case for it being the husband or for being the dad who did it and then committed suicide. How else would his body be there? Like, unless the serial killer, for whatever reason, had 2 drop sites really, really close together at the same time. Unless, like, the husband was able to get away and he caught up with him there and overcame him and fucking killed him there. Who knows? Maybe that, there's options, but I think that the dad did it, the boyfriend.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what about the strangers that she talked about that were not prompted? And what about, like, what if he ran away? What if Mike ran away? Like, that happened and then Mike ran away and then the guy chased him.
Right. But so then is that the serial killer avenue that you're driving down right now?
That's a serial. I'm just trying to make it make sense. Like, I just don't. What if he was taking the Christmas tree saw and why would he take that with him? If you were going to go and ponder what you'd done, right, and sit by a stump, I mean, Why would you walk that distance to do it? I mean, I would feel like you would just sit right down and be like, wow, what did I do?
Uh-huh.
I just don't.
Yeah, I know it's a mystery. It's a mystery, but I don't place a lot of emphasis on a 2.5-year-old talking about strangers that may or may not have been there and at a traumatic time. Like, I'm not sure, right?
No, agreed. I totally agree.
Yeah. Like, it could be like maybe she'd never seen her daddy like look like that and thought he was a different person for a second because he had this rage on his face. Like, who knows? It could be a lot of different examples of that or possibilities for that. But yeah, the distance between where the bodies were found is definitely no clue, right? It's a mind bender, and we'll never know because 26 years. But you know what was really creepy was that because it took so long to find Reamer, that there was that fear he could come back at any time and just wreak the havoc that that's fucked up.
I know, right?
To live like that in fear for so long when you had no reason to be. Yeah, it's sad.
I know.
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh.
And that's some real fear. That
is no shit. That is real fear, especially, because because she was dead. So, he's a murderer. You have it in your head, and he might want to tie up loose ends, or he might want to whatever. I mean, that's just, man. So where does the case stand now? It's a cold case? It's still open?
It's a cold case. It's still open, like the one in Pierce County. I mean, I don't know what's happening with that, but they had to do a lot of stuff with his DNA because I guess Mike Reamer, the bones were so old, and the way that they didn't have all of them, and they had to get his DNA first, but his dad had already died.
Right.
And so they didn't have a sample. So they had to go through a lot just to get, I think they used his teeth, and then they're like, okay, we need a sample. Anyway, I just feel like it wasn't clear cut at all as far as the DNA, and maybe they have more stuff to test. But a lot of the witnesses are I know her family, her sister and her mother, I know they're still alive, and obviously Crystal. But a lot of the witnesses, it's the older the case goes, the more.
So where's Crystal now? What happened to Crystal? Who raised her? The sister?
I think the grandma raised her, and she's an adult now, and he said she doesn't want to have anything to do with the case, which I completely understand.
Doesn't she know that we're doing a podcast?
I'm sure she would make sure not to listen. I mean, this is like the most traumatic thing. I mean, we're looking at this, and I know you feel the same way. We're just
of course, but I'm saying like to what I was saying earlier, she would probably listen to this just as an interested observer, not remembering. Oh yeah, I remember being 2.5 and going through those 5 sessions with the clinical psychologist. She wouldn't remember it. I listen. It's not that she would find it interesting because it's about her fucking mother and father being dead. So I was, half joking when I said she'd be an interested observer. But the point was that she wouldn't remember it. She wouldn't be listening to it and reminisce about that time in her life. I hope anyway. But no, she wouldn't. Obviously, I just hope that is able to live a good, happy life despite this.
That's how I felt too. Yeah. I mean, especially after listening to what she said and I mean, it's in there somewhere, Branden. You never I believe, unfortunately, trauma that children go through, it sticks with them.
So does the good stuff, though.
So does the good stuff. Absolutely. Yeah. But I think that, it manifests itself in other forms, and, hopefully she's gotten some therapy, and, that's a lot for a kid to go through. And then having this thing hang over their heads. And I'm sure she was really close with her aunt. I mean, I'm assuming she was. Sounds like she was when she was little. And, the terror that the aunt was going through, thinking, hey, this guy could come back and get, it's terrifying. Yeah. And she's the living witness, so I think that there's lots there. And I hope that you're right, that she, I hope that she's living her best life.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yikes. All right. Well, I almost said that was a fun one. Not fun like yippee, but fun like with some of the investigative techniques that were brought to bear to figure some stuff out, especially the tree branch growing through the guy's face. Yeah.
That was so, at least we know where he was, and we know he's been sitting there
For a long fucking time. Yeah. So that was cool. That was really interesting.
You know,
that was really
nobody
really
moved him.
Go ahead, sorry.
I said, we know that nobody moved him. He was there, because there are serial killers who will move, you know, human remains. And we know that that's not the case here. If it was a serial killer, which, you know, probably most likely wasn't, but
yeah, there was some animal activity. There was some animal activity dragging parts of his body around in the area. But we know that his face was right there for 25, 26 years. Count the rings. It's fucking so cool.
Count those rings.
I know. Wow. All right. Well, hey, great job. That was great. And the episode is out now. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. Episode 28, Mommy's in the Woods. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As always, please consider supporting the great companies that support our show. They make it possible to do what we do. Carolyn, what do you have for us next week?
We'll see.
Oh, you know. So we still don't know. All right. I like when you keep us in suspense. Carolyn, anything to add this week?
Nope. We absolutely appreciate your support. Thank you so much for listening, and stay tuned for what I've got cooking up for next week.
All right. Thank you again for listening, Murder Chronicles Nation. Look forward to catching up with you next week. Until then, stay safe.
The Murder Chronicles is a pie-in-the-sky production recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We are produced by Brandon Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For Pie in the Sky Media, I'm Carolyn Osorio, your writer and host. Thanks for listening.